Hello and welcome back. I'm Master Antonio Garcia of the Kookaroo Samurai. This is Sensei Daniel. He's going to be joining me today. What we're going to take a look at today is the difference between a block and a strike block. Now, anybody who's ever studied physics or knows anything about energy transfer in science knows that the object that of equal mass hitting another object will actually sustain less damage than the object that is receiving the energy. So like a hammer to a nail, the hammer is going to receive less damage, incur less damage than the nail it's hitting. We're going to use that to our effect. So if someone throwing a punch at you, even when you throw a block to a hard punch or a hard kick, you're likely to sustain damage. I know we've probably seen fighters before that block like a roundhouse kick to the face in a full contact fight with like their forearm and end up getting busted or bruised or sprained. Okay, so it's very important that you learn the difference between a regular block and a more offensive strike block to not only stop the strike from hitting you, but inflict damage on the other person. So what we're going to take a look at today, okay, let's go for size here. Okay, so we're going to take a look at how to use a strike as a block. The first one we're going to do is just a forearm strike. Okay, now when you do a forearm strike, you want to make sure you hit the sides because your arm is not round, it's oval and it's flat on the front and back. So hitting with the front and back has a lot more meat. It's not going to do as much damage. So you want to use the side, the bone part. Okay, so when someone throws a roundhouse, as opposed to just blocking like that, which is you're actually receiving the full force of energy because as he throws his punch, you're actually stopping that motion and all of it's being transferred into your arm. That's why a lot of times when you block a hard punch, it hurts you and not the other person. What we're going to do is use that to our advantage and actually transfer the energy back into his arm. So when he comes in, we're going to strike towards him, where it actually hurts his arm. Okay, just like this. All right, just like you notice how I come up and actually strike his arm. What that does is it takes the energy and you actually reverse it back into his arm, like that, which actually will strike into his arm, and where he once thought that he was going to inflict damage on you with a strike, you have now returned the favor and incurred damage onto his arm, inflicts damage onto his arm. So there's another couple of different ways that you can do strike blocks. You can actually do a punch or to a arm or a leg. So if he throws like a roundhouse punch, you can actually come in and strike. Okay. The only downside of that is that you have to be very accurate or you may miss the punch. Also, when you do the strike block with a punch, you want to make sure you shoot for the weakest points on his arm. So you don't want to hit right here on the forearm. Okay. You want to hit at the joints like the wrist, preferably. It's a lot smaller. There's 62 bones in the hand, so even if you strike the hand, okay, you can probably do more damage to the hand, okay, than you are his forearm. So when it comes in, you want to aim for the wrist. When it comes in, you strike like that. The same thing will work for a kick. If he does a roundhouse kick to like my stomach, I can actually use this to strike right there at the ankle. So as he comes in, you also notice that when I punch, I'm pulling my hand back. You don't want to just punch into it because then you're going to use force with force. You actually want to punch and vibrate like this, okay, so that it bounces like that. It comes in and strike to the wrist, strike, okay, forearm strike, strike. That way, as opposed to just blocking, you're actually transferring the energy back into his strike and inflicting damage on him. So while they throw up a roundhouse kick, instead of just blocking it, okay, taking the full force of that energy, you're actually striking back, and the person may actually end up limping because you damage his ankle as opposed to him inflicting all the damage on you. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed today's installment. So next time you're sparring, practice this, preferably under supervision of an instructor that's familiar with these techniques so they can correct you. Accuracy is very important, so make sure if you are practicing this, you're doing it in a safe way, that you're not missing the leg or missing the arm and getting punched in the process. But I hope you enjoyed today's installment, and of course if you have any questions, like to see anything in future installments, just shoot us a message, and we look forward to seeing you next time.